All right, we made it outside the bar. Just dropped into the Miami bar to see their big victory, and now, very San Francisco fashion, we're gonna have a driver take us talk about the 49ers. Miami, congratulations to them. Big touchdown for the Canes at the very end. That was the University of Miami bar here in San Francisco. Those of you who follow me know that I love to check out team bars, and that was a dramatic finish. They get the win over Ole Miss, so the SEC goes down, and Carson Beck is going to be playing in the NFL. I don't know how good of a quarterback he'll be. It's always tough to tell, you know. I thought that he was very poised to close that game, and then he ran in for the touchdown. That whole place erupted. It's here, Pier 70 in San Francisco, Dog Patch neighborhood. Who knew that there were so many Miami football fans, University of Miami football fans in San Francisco? But it was going crazy in there. That was fun. Tomorrow it's going to be Oregon and Indiana. I think Indiana's going to beat everybody by multiple possessions. They just seem to be completely locked in. I want to talk about the good day that the 49ers had today, though. Trent Williams was back out at practice for San Francisco, and Ricky Pearsall even ran a couple routes. Now, he wasn't an official participant at practice, but he was working off on the side, and the one thing that I noticed is that Ricky was wearing a jersey. He wasn't just in sweatpants off on the side. Ricky Pearsall was legitimately in a jersey. I couldn't tell farther away had some small pads on or not, but Ricky Pearsall was definitely a more active participant than he was the day before. By the way, this building, that's where the Restoration Hardware in San Francisco is. There's a Palm Court Hotel, and then they've got a rooftop bar. Unnecessarily expensive furniture, but still worth checking out because it's a beautiful building. I'll close the window again. It's a little bit of a chilly night, but we're going through an area of San Francisco that we don't normally drive through on some of these shows, but I figured we would. I mean, that is a beautiful building, though. You could see it in the roof. Drinks. I mean, some of you might be, but unless you're into like $25, $30 drinks, you might want to skip it. We're going to be going down the waterfront here, and we could talk more about this practice today. Also, for the 49ers, Fred Warner was working off on the side. And, I just see this thing on Sunday, this opportunity for the 49ers is an opportunity to build a bridge back to Fred Warner. I mean, there's the 49ers are underdogs right now. I think the point spread has grown to 5 points. Obviously, Eagles are in a better health situation. Philadelphia has 21 of 22 starters projected to play. Lane Johnson was back at practice today for the Eagles. It looked like he was moving nimbly. Well, we'll see how that translates to the game, but he's dealing with a Lisfranc sprain. He's been out since, I think, week 11. That could be a big addition to Philadelphia, but Trent Williams returning to practice for the 49ers is a big addition to San Francisco. Still, there's a fundamental misbalance here in that the 49ers have such a beaten up defense. And the fact that Warner is out on that practice field reminds us of two things, one good and one bad. The good is that, okay, he's back out on the practice field. Oh my God, Casper decided to go up the bridge. Nice, aggressively too. I think we're gonna get a nice view of downtown San Francisco here. How about that? Yeah, there it is. There's the city. Heading up the bridge. I guess we're gonna take the Potrero Hill route to get to where we're going. I mean, I've never complained about the routes that Casper decides to take. Today he's taking the scenic route, which is good. I never have control over these when we make these drives. Driving with David is a little bit easier. Lombardi herself is around because I can pick which way we're going to go. This time I didn't have a choice, but Casper's still doing a good job. And we're still going to climb even further up this hill. This is actually going to be really, really nice. I want to camera lens before we make this right turn, because you're going to get the view of the city. Casper is getting today. So Trent Williams back, Fred Warner on the practice field. 49ers trying to build that bridge to Fred. If you can win this game, it gets really interesting next week. The 49ers have publicly been saying the NFC Championship game could be a potential return for Fred Warner. I think it might potentially be frozen. I think it might, but Mike is saying that it's frozen again, but it's going again. Whatever. We're just going to talk and it'll be fun. Mike says we're good now. Okay, fine. If Fred Warner is already on the practice field, just working off on the side, doing his sprints, that is very intentional. Like, the media is out there only for a short part of the day. Fred Warner can go out in the morning. He could go out in the evening. He could go out at any time that is not the 25-minute media viewing window. So the fact that he's been in the locker room a couple times over the past couple of weeks, and he hadn't been in the locker room during the media viewing window, and the fact that he was on the practice field today signals that he's approaching his potential return. So now it's up to the 49ers to build the bridge to that return. They're on their fourth starting Mike linebacker of the season in Eric Kendricks. That is a tremendous, astounding stat for a team that won 12 games in the regular season. To go through three Mike linebackers and now a fourth Mike linebacker with hopes of returning your top one, going back all the way to number one, still being alive, not only being alive, being 12-5, talking about winning in Philadelphia, that just gives you an idea of how resilient the 49ers have been this year. But I actually think that there could be some addition by subtraction at that linebacker position. Watching the tape of that game against the Seattle Seahawks, there were so many missed gaps. Tatum Bethune missed one on the long touchdown for Zach Charbonnet. The Seahawks, they had room for Kenneth Walker, and then the 49ers weren't peeling off blocks. That was more of a Garrett Wallow issue on the 3rd and 17 that Seattle was able to pick up with a 20-yard run. The bottom line is that the gaps weren't being filled, blocks weren't being shed, and the linebacker play in general for the 49ers was just not good. And it hadn't been good the week prior either against the Chicago Bears. And, ever since Fred Warner went down, we were talking about the potential of the 49ers adding a veteran, and they did add a veteran on November 26th in Eric Kendricks, because we weren't sure if some of the younger guys like a Tatum Bethune would be capable of delivering the way that the 49ers needed to at that Mike linebacker position. And I think that the final verdict was that this was still a little bit too big for Tatum. He hit hard. I thought that he moved well around the field as far as, this was a guy that didn't test all too great coming out of Florida State, but that's why he dropped the 7th round. But I didn't think that physically there was any issue with Tatum Bethune. I think that it's just somebody who hasn't seen enough snaps yet when everything is moving as quickly as it is on an NFL football field to identify correctly on a down in, down out basis what he needed to identify. All while he's barking orders to everybody else because the play is coming into the radio that he's wearing in his helmet. He's got to communicate. I mean, it sped up way too fast for Tatum Bethune. Now you have somebody who has seen a decade's worth of NFL football in Eric Kendricks at that Mike linebacker position. He has seen a lot of the running concepts that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to put out there. He has seen thousands of snaps at this speed, at this level, and that can only be invaluable for the 49ers as far as reading and reacting to what Philadelphia is doing, because Kendricks is going to be that communication circuit for the defense. They've missed Fred Warner so badly. Now they get another veteran in there, a former All-Pro back from the 2019 season. Kendricks was on that Minnesota Vikings team that the 49ers beat in the divisional round of the postseason. So I think that it's symbolic that they're so close to getting Fred back, and they've got another All-Pro who can push them to Fred in Eric Kendricks. And he, even if he has slowed down at age 33, which he obviously has, It's still an all-pro brain. It's still somebody who has processed the game at an extremely high level, cerebrally, that is going to be stepping in to help the 49ers where they need to pick up the most slack. The Eagles, I mean, this is a monster of a team talent-wise. You've got, up front, Jordan Davis and that defense, Jalen Carter, both of those guys, two big defensive tackles in the middle. The 49ers will go as far as their offensive front can take them offensively in this game, which is why it's such a big deal that Trent Williams was back at practice. Somebody asked All-Pro. Yeah, Eric Kendricks was an All-Pro back in 2019 with Don Zimmer for the Minnesota Vikings. That was a good Vikings team, and the 49ers dispatched to them 27-10 was the final score in the divisional round of the playoffs. That was an epic run. They had home field advantage and the number 1 seed. But anyway, moving on to the defense for the Eagles, you've got two monstrous defensive tackles. Jalen Carter can wreck a game. Jordan Davis can wreck a game. You have an excellent pass rush. I think that's one area where you've seen Howie Roseman draft really well. And then when he hasn't drafted well, or when he's needed to plug in a couple holes, he's made other moves. They traded for Jalen Phillips, who's had an extremely high pressure rate this year. The pressure rate as a whole, as a team for the Philadelphia Eagles is very high. They're at 40.2%, so they can really, really get after you as a defensive line. Then on the back end, Nakobe Dean is their top linebacker along with Zach Bond. They've got two really good linebackers. Bond was an All-Pro last year. This is the Bay Bridge, by the way. Casper making his way down the Embarcadero now. Still got a little bit of a camera blur, but it's almost artistic. Kind of love that. That bridge is pretty, though. You could see all the way to the East Bay. Those are the lights on the other side. The Warriors at one point wanted to build an arena right here on Piers 30 and 32. I think that would have been sick. An arena right out on the bay, but instead they built at the area that we came from near the Chase Center. Also, right here, there's a couple cool places with good burgers. You see this? That's Red's Java House. If the Warriors had built their arena here, they promised to keep Red's Java House, which is right on the pier, right on the water. They promised to keep that old building there. So the arena would have been this monstrous piece of construction right there. And Red's Java House with their really good burgers and beers would have stayed. And then the High Dive right here, the High Dive, I don't know if that would have stayed, but I hope that it would have, as we are getting ready to cross under the Bay Bridge. There you guys go. Here, we'll open the window. It's going to be a little bit windy. I apologize, but it's a good view. Here you can see the San Francisco Fire Department's fireboat right there. Oh, that's a nice shot. Cool. We're coming up to some of these restaurants on the Embarcadero. Hopefully I could get this thing to turn around and take us back down the water as we finish talking about the Eagles defense. Let's see what we have here.
You're here. Please make sure it's
I'm not getting out, don't worry. We're not done yet. We started this at the, here, resume ride. Perfect. All right, we're going. Casper is pulled back out. And I'm really hoping that we go down the Embarcadero, but I can't control which way this routes. So I talked about Zach Bond, who's as instinctive of a linebacker as there is. He's been a rising star over the past 2 years. He's fit really well with the Vic Fangio system and the pass rush. Look at this, U-turn, bumpy U-turn, and I think that we're doing the Embarcadero, guys. Awesome. Those are good restaurants, by the way, like Water Bar and Epic Steakhouse. You know, people sometimes will miss those for whatever reason because they're just in between downtown and the ballpark, but those are two solid places. Here's the Muni line. That's the N line. Probably going back to the garage because it says 23rd and 3rd Street. There's absolutely nobody on it, but that makes sense because there's no game going on right now. And as we loop down the water, you guys will see where the San Francisco Giants play. And we could talk about the 49ers and the parallels that I've seen to the San Francisco Giants this year once we finish talking about, well, you know, the 2010 San Francisco Giants. Yeah, okay, let's let's pivot right here because I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I'm talking about the fact that Philadelphia is favored in this game. The 49ers this year have won games that they should not have won, and they have scrapped their way to the very coveted position they're in right now in the playoffs. Not every team makes the playoffs. The 49ers, I think they're outperforming what we thought even from what a healthy team would be this year. I have gotten some 2010 Giants vibes from the 49ers because analytically they're not supposed to be this good, but they have been this good. They've gotten to 12-5. The 2010 Giants on their way, and here's their home, the San Francisco Giants. See, you can see the ballpark. The 2010 San Francisco Giants beat the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLCS after everybody said that they did not have a shot. They went in there, Game 6 of that NLCS. They secured a dramatic win. It almost gave many Giants fans a heart attack. By the way, those of you who come out to Giants games, I'm sure you recognize Momo's. It's a good pregame spot. And then here is the ballpark. It's on the other side of the trolley tracks there. But you're going to see the 24 palm trees for Willie Mays, and you're going to see Willie Mays Plaza here in just a second. Anyway, that 2010 San Francisco Giants run, there it is, Oracle Park, home of the Giants. Unfortunately, they couldn't secure the World Series win here, but there is the statue of the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. And yes, it is 24 Willie Mays Plaza, so you do have 24 palm trees. The way they won that World Series, though, was Tim Lincecum, amazing pitching from an undersized prospect who a lot of people like nationally didn't believe in because he couldn't possibly be that good given the height and weight, given those parameters. So, I mean, if the 49ers are able to continue this run this year, I think Brock Purdy's like your Tim Lincecum for the Giants. He's able to do amazing things. He's ranked at the very top of the NFL's composite quarterback rankings, like literally number one after the season that he put up. He's ranked there because of the efficient, sensational play that he's given. And it's a huge part of the reason why the 49ers are where they're at right now at 12-5. The 2010 San Francisco Giants did not have a good lineup, especially for most of the season. Offensively, they ranked in the middle of the league. It's kind of like the 49ers defense is not a world beater, yet somehow they've still pushed their way to 7 games above 500 at that 12-5 record. And it's because they're finding ways to win greasy wins, gritty wins for the 49ers, just like those 2010 San Francisco Giants. What a beautiful ballpark, by the way. I really wish that the 49ers played in San Francisco still. I really wish that there would be something that worked near the water. You know, the Candlestick site wouldn't have been bad. Here, you know, there's the Orlando Cepeda statue. And this now, we're on the bridge crossing McCovey Cove. So that's where Barry Bonds hit all his home runs. You can see that the scoreboard is on right now at the Giants Stadium. And now they're developing this whole area across from McCovey Cove. It's called Mission Rock. This used to be a big, gigantic parking lot, but now you actually have city streets. There's Ike Sandwiches. Shout out to Ike. And I think you got like Cirque du Soleil or something going on right here in the parking lot. But this used to take up the whole area, and now the parking lot has been downsized to just that. We're actually going to pass by the Warriors arena in just a little bit. I guess we could talk about Warriors basketball too and how that might relate to the 49ers. But here's how you attack this Eagles defense. Yes, they've ranked really, really well this year. They're number 6 in overall EPA. They're number 4 in weighted DVOA. They're, it's a team that I think has talent at every single level. We could talk about Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship in the secondary. Adoree Jackson is a smaller cornerback for the Eagles, and I think that maybe Juwan Jennings could be a good size matchup there for the 49ers to capitalize on that and to take advantage of that. But the Eagles are good. The metrics are good, but there is a weakness for Philadelphia against the outside zone. They've given up over 5 yards per carry on outside zone runs this year. The 49ers did not run outside zone a single time against the Seattle Seahawks, and you may wonder why. Well, it's because Seattle was in nickel, so they had fast personnel on the field, and they were in dime a lot of the time too. They were not in base a single snap in that game where they overwhelmed the 49ers offense. The 49ers did not have Trent Williams, who might be the most athletic offensive lineman of all time, to counter what the Seattle Seahawks were doing. Now that Trent Williams is back out at practice, I think that you could be certain that the 49ers are going to bring some outside zone back into the fold. And that is exactly where Philadelphia has been deficient defensively this year. If you can run the football with any kind of efficiency, and I think outside zone is the ticket for the 49ers, you can set Brock Purdy up for real success. You can have Purdy go into his best Steph Curry impersonation. And it's fitting that I got to this part of the show because we were just talking about the 2010 Giants at their ballpark. And now you can guess what's going to be just around the corner. It's going to be a surprise for some of you in just a few seconds. But if you really want to start making it rain offensively, the 49ers were at 35.7 points per game since Brock Purdy's return leading up to the tough one against the Seattle Seahawks. If you really want to make this explode on the scoreboard, then you have to set up a platform for Brock Purdy to do his thing. It's the case with any quarterback to ever play. You have to set up that platform for the QB to succeed. And for the 49ers, I think the ticket is the outside zone and the run game. There is the Chase Center. That is the home of the Golden State Warriors. Not playing tonight, but as you can tell, they have revitalized this entire area. It's called the Dog Patch in San Francisco. And that is where the arena is. So, you know, I just wish I wish it could have been 3 venues. The 49ers, the Warriors, and the Giants all in one spot. That's my key for the game. 49ers, run that outside zone. Take advantage of some of the, I think the Eagles defense is young. I heard today the Eagles have the most expensive offense in the history of football. They've paid Jalen Hurts. They paid Saquon Barkley. They paid A.J. Brown. They paid Devontae Smith. They paid Dallas Goedert. They paid Lane Johnson. They paid Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson. I mean, they paid basically every single position on this offense. The defense is younger, but it's a defense that they've built well through the NFL draft. And then obviously the Jalen Phillips trade has been productive for the Eagles as well. Anyway, the fact that so much money is invested into the offense for the Eagles means that the defense, by extension, is younger. It's not as experienced as the Seattle Seahawks defense. And I think that Kyle Shanahan, we've heard Christian McCaffrey talk about it. He knows how to press on the emotions of certain players. He knows tendencies of certain players. I think that if Kyle Shanahan is in his bag in this game, there are some over-aggressive tendencies that he can capitalize on from the Philadelphia. Nice tour of Santa Restoration. That's where the Palm Court Hotel or the Palm Court Restaurant is, with the up top on the roof. $25 drinks, maybe $30 drinks. I don't know. San Francisco prices, you guys know how it is. We're freezing right now anyway, so I gotta go. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.